Hi, I'm Lauren Locke. Let's talk about when is the best time in your career to file your EB1A I-140 petition. Well, unlike so many other countries in the world, when we are choosing who to give green cards to, and by we I mean the government, not me personally, unfortunately, uh, when the U.S. government is deciding who gets a green card, most of our categories are completely agnostic to your age. So it doesn't help you to be younger like it does in a lot of other countries. It doesn't hurt you to be older like it does in a lot of other countries. Um, by the time you're older, your career is longer, so you have more to work with in your work history as you're looking for how you're going to fulfill the criteria for an EB1A. But some of your evidence is going to be older, and that could be a negative. So what's going to be the best age for you to do it and stage of your career is going to be just a hyper individual question that you should talk to your lawyer about. If you're thinking about it now, I really think that you should consider, do you have a viable case now? If you don't have a viable case, when will you? Will you ever? What can you do if you had a year or 3 years or 5 years to get yourself to a viable case? What would you do? Um, I think a lot of people sat too long and didn't jump into national interest waiver when the getting was good, and the getting's not good anymore. So that's a real risk. Like, yes, in 3 years, you'll have 3 years more work experience. That's fantastic. But what if USCIS has turned on EB1As and it's much harder to win? What if the approval rate just plummets, which it can? We've seen that with NIWs. The approval rate has dropped and dropped and dropped. And that's not because I don't think it's because the cases are getting weaker. I think it's because the goalposts are shifting. If you have a plausible case now, it's absolutely worth considering whether you should file now. A lot of people are really focused on the next milestone they're going to get in their own company, like the next time you're going to get promoted. That probably doesn't matter to USCIS. They probably don't care. They don't realize how prestigious it is that you did it in 18 months instead of 30 months. They don't care. They don't realize that that's normal, and that's not going to be a compelling enough story for you to win on. You're not going to win because you've jumped through the hoops and advanced in your company. You're going to win because you have a compelling story with a lot of evidence you can point to about you fit the criteria, you check off at least 3 of the criteria, and overall, you just deserve to win. You get through that final merits determination because you have a great story. If you have that now and you're not going to use the next year or whatever period of time to get further, if it's not going to improve your story, then I don't think it's worth waiting. Like, oh, well, I can probably do another white paper next year and then another one the year after that. Like, that's hardly ever going to be the difference between winning and losing. And there are so many other factors outside of your control that come into play if you're going to wait. USCIS is going to keep evolving in ways that we can't predict, although in 2025, it's not looking like it's getting more immigrant friendly. Your career, you hope that you're going to be promoted in a year. What if you're fired in a year? You don't know. And it may be really out of your control and not related to how hard you're working. So whether you should do it now at your age or in a decade when you're a decade older, I like to think about, what difference would it make in your life if that whole decade you had the green card, if your kids had green cards? You could be naturalized a decade from now instead of still waiting around in H-1B status. So I would not say that you need to hit any certain age or any certain professional benchmark. It's really got to be an individual analysis about what have you achieved thus far and can you make the case? And if you can't now, what are you going to do between now and then to sort of curate your professional experience so that you will have a winning case at some fairly specific time in the future, not some open-ended, like, oh, I'll never make it. But, if you give yourself 18 more months, why will you be a better candidate to win then than you are today? Those are the questions I was asking myself. Thanks.